death. Something that comes to us all eventually. Granted, to some it can take a very long time indeed. Dwarves and elves especially seem to have lifetimes far longer than us, after all. But it comes to us all eventually. As citizens of the Empire, we all hope to be properly interred in a garden of Mor, the god of death and dreams. Through his gate, we all hope to pass peacefully. And perhaps, if one is truly blessed, they will leave his grey lands and join blessed Sigmar at his side. For it is no surprise that those who worship Mor and guard his gardens despise the undead and the necromancers who summon them. For what greater sin is there than to deprive the souls of the innocent from their eternal rest? Truly, we should all be thankful for the guardians of the dead. They may be the only ones who can make sure that when you part from this world, well, you really do part from this world. This is Red Moon Roleplaying. Things have become dire indeed for our three brave heroes. For a moment it seemed they had actually won Frederick Magirius to their side. He believed them and he was going to, admittedly slightly unwillingly, but he was going to present evidence, go to the chief magistrate, and you could maybe get these people arrested, even though it would be very, very difficult. All this was thrown into chaos when suddenly out of nowhere, Frederick Magirius was brutally assaulted. He should have died there and then, but Siegfrieda, you refused this outcome, and through a miracle perhaps of Sigmar himself, you were able to stabilize the man. Sadly, that was not enough to get you all out of trouble. You had to flee the townhouse, flee while several watch patrols are after you. After all, they heard a young boy, of all things, call out that people had been assaulted in the house. And, well, they were probably going to take the word of a young, innocent boy over the three of you any day. So you had to run through the city. But luckily for you, this is not the first time Kruger has done this. Although granted, Kruger, normally when you've done this, it's been running from a theft, not a potential murder, or in this case now, assault. But you were able to find somewhere in the poor district of town. You had to be very quick. You had to stop and start several times, hiding in barrels, ducking into shops. But you were able to find some old abandoned building and just dive in and lay low. The problem, though, has been that you haven't been able to leave Kruger. Every time you've poked out the windows of this old decrepit building, there are watch patrols. You wait 30-40 minutes, and then just when you think it's time to leave again, they come round again. You're currently stuck. You realise, unfortunately, you might need to wait till nightfall to actually properly stalk the streets. However, the three of you for the moment are safe for now. No one's come into this building, and the watch patrols are starting to get a little lax in their rounds. But this is serious. A councilman has been assaulted. The watch are clearly all in on this at the moment. What's going through your mind, Kruger, and what do you want to do next?
In some ways, I find myself in my element here, running from the law through the streets of a city. This is what I've spent most of the last few years doing. It's kind of not comfortable necessarily, but I know what to expect. So much of what we've been doing over the last days and weeks has been completely out of what I normally do, completely out of my league, really. So, in a way, it's reassuring to be back in this kind of a situation, and I think I can help my companions here. I can help us to get through this safely. We just need to wait for nightfall. We just need to wait for it to get a bit darker. The patrols have already been reduced in frequency, and soon enough they're gonna assume that we have left the city or are otherwise hiding. They might resume it again tomorrow, but if we wait until it gets a little bit darker, we should be able to then make our way to the warehouse and hopefully still make it there before the ritual begins.
What do the other two of you say to this?
I've learned more about running through back alleys in the last 2 days than I have in the last 20 years. This is not what I expected my journey would look like when I got into that cart. But fate is strange, and glory comes in many flavors. Who knows? Maybe dismembering a chaos cult will be the thing that leads me to the life I want to lead. I'm grateful for doing all the cardio in my little dueling school.
Siegfrieda, as you are watching the windows yourself, and the light begins to dim as the sun is setting, you don't know how long you've had to hide out in this weird little building, hours perhaps, you do suddenly then notice a lone watch patrol. There's only one person in this one, just passing by your building. Your father. He's carrying a torch. He's looking around very concerned, looking between the buildings here and there. What do you do?
Well, here I am divided. Call out to him, maybe get some advice, but also implicate him and put him in danger. Or rely on our own abilities to navigate the town without any assistance from anyone in the watch. I look to my companions. I look back to the window where he is outside, and regrettably I realise that I need to take whatever steps necessary to protect my companions, because they are more my family than he is. So I will gently tap on the window, enough so that he might see me briefly.
It works. He looks in your direction, he frowns, quickly heads in the direction of this building, finds the door you found, swings it open and ducks inside. Oh, I found you! Siegfrieda! And your friends, are you all... are you all alright? Are you all alright?
No. Not really.
What's going on? They're saying you assaulted the Councilman Magirius! Of course it's lies, Siegfrieda, I know it's lies, but, well, that's what they're saying. I've been looking everywhere for you. They're patrolling all over the Bogenhafen. What's happened?
Well, I nervously play with my bloody hands because I am still absolutely covered in Magirius's fluids. Well, we didn't attack him. We were trying to save him.
Of course.
There's a plot, Father, in this town. Councilman Tegan is intending on enacting a ritual in his Warehouse 13, or 13th warehouse, we believe, which will result in mass deaths. We found evidence of this, presented it to Magirius, but clearly Magirius was seen as a weak link because then someone stabbed him in the middle of our meeting. The assassin got away, the fingers were pointed at us. We did our best to save Magirius's life. Now we're on the run, but in all fairness, we can't just flee the town, even though that's probably the best thing for our safety. We probably could reach the boat and get out of here, come to think of it, but what we actually need to do is stop this ritual before it is completed.
Of course, lass, of course. I know I haven't been there for you, but you have me now. Siegfrieda, I'll do anything you need. What was that you said? Warehouse 13. Do you know... There's a couple of those. Do you have anything else?
Well, only that it's Tegan's warehouse.
Ah! You don't say. How's Tegan? Then, yes. By the Orster Dam, across the river. I can help you get there. We'll need to be careful. We'll need to go slow. I know where the watch patrols will be. What do you say, friends? Do you need my help? And he looks to the other two, Heinrich and Kruger.
I think I mostly had this figured out, but of course, if we can get an actual, city watchman to help us, especially one with the kind of motivation that he would have, then that would definitely be of utmost use, and I would still be able to, make sure that we don't walk into any traps. So yeah, I would be very happy to accept this offer. That sounds good to me, I say.
I'm fine taking the help, but It's Siegfrieda's father, and this is dangerous. It would come down to her. I wouldn't want to put her family at risk if that wasn't something she was comfortable with.
I'll look to him, and I will say, you need to put us somewhere undercover, like a wagon or a cart or something like that, if you're going to transport us across town, I imagine. But the main thing is that if for some reason we do get intercepted, if things turn particularly bad, you need to claim, Father, that you have us under arrest.
What? No, Siegfried, why would I do such a thing?
Well, I weighed it up, Father. I weighed up whether you should say that we were holding you hostage or whether you claim that we're under arrest. If you claim that we're holding you hostage, yes, it protects you, but it also guarantees that we'll be executed on the spot. If you say that we're under arrest and we happen to be transported to the town jail, then there's every possibility we might break out of it. So it's just the more logical, sensible option. So obviously we don't want to go around heralding the idea, but I'm saying if other guards intercept us and it seems like you can't bluff your way out of it.
I'd like you to roll me a charm check here. The charm check is to see if he is willing to go along with this. Basically, he sells you out if you get caught approach. It makes sense, but the question is, does it make sense to him?
Well, my rolls haven't been great. And once again, they are not. I only have 1 point of fortitude left, and I'm not prepared to spend it here.
You could ask someone else to do this for you. They do it at a -10, though.
I look to my companions because, my argument is very much, preserve yourself, we can escape later, and it's not terribly convincing with 4 degrees of failure.
My dear friend Siegfrieda is probably correct, but is also not known for her communication skills. And with family being involved, I understand it's even more complicated. So hearing the way that she is discussing things, seeing how it's not being received, I might take this opportunity to just reword it a little bit and see if a change in presentation makes a difference.
So that would be a charm roll, please, at a -10.
Well, it's not the greatest success in the world. It is just under my target. I have 37 in the skill. I've rolled a 32.
I'm not happy about this, Siegfrieda. But all right. But I tell you this, it's not going to happen, though. So we're not going to have to worry about me having to say, because it's not going to happen.
Well, I hope not.
All right. Give me 30 minutes. I need to find a wagon. I get some favors I'm owed. And he leaves. 30 minutes pass. And the afternoon begins to fall. But he does come back with a wagon pulled by a donkey. Again, not the fastest animal, but for your purposes it will do. It is covered. You will be able to hide in this wagon, and if he guides it along, well, you hope he comes up with a story, but at least it's something.
I think this'll do, I say to them. This might just work.
Oh, have some more optimism. When hasn't a half-cocked plan made under pressure worked out for us so far?
I smile at that. Well, it's us. We'll make it work somehow.
On his instruction, the 3 of you bundle into this small wagon, and he begins leading you out into the falling night. The mists begin to come in, and there is a green aura in the air. Inside the wagon, you can't see much, but Heinrich, you poke your eye out for a moment. You look at the sky above. It is full with the Chaos Moon more sleep. Its eyes watching you, its mouth grinning wildly. How do you respond to that?
I feel that same sense of dread. As I've mentioned, this feels targeted. And every time I see these moon eyes, I'm just immediately going through my brain and trying to think of whatever I could have done to attract this thing's attention. And of course, there were the creatures on the road, and then the creature in the law office. But letting that book burn for the reasons I let it burn, knowing that it was something evil, knowing that I was making a choice to help someone, to help my friends, even when faced with the temptation of keeping that little bit of knowledge around, that actually kind of steals my fortitude here. To the degree that I have any particular spiritual leanings, whether or not I'm truly worried about the corruption sinking in, at least today, at least the last 2 days, I feel like my heart's in the right place. And if this moon wants to sneer at me now, I'm going to sneer back.
Sneer you do, and the moon grins in amusement. Kruger, you see Heinrich looking out the corner of this wagon and sneering at something, and you poke your eyes out and you see it too. The moon is bright and full, covering the sky in the mist. Its eyes glaring at you, its mouth wide and full of teeth.
I just rub my eyes, trying to make sure that what I'm seeing is actually real. I suppose it's fittingly ominous. I don't know what all this means. It might just be stress. It's probably just that, stress. This is gonna be fine.
You rub your eyes, and the moon is still large, but of course it doesn't have eyes and a mouth. That was very silly of you.
Yeah, but it's understandable. These things happen. The mind, it makes stuff up sometimes. This is going to be all right. We're going to stop this, actually. We're going to stop this ritual. And it's going to make everything all right.
Siegfrieda, odd thought to have at a time like this, but it's a weird thought. A little part of your mind is annoyed that the book was burned. After all, you said it yourself, superstitious nonsense is what stops knowledge. Maybe that book could have continued to have been of use. Maybe you could have understood it in time. It's only a passing thought. What do you think of this passing thought?
I try and shove it away. As much as I can be cold and aloof at times, my calling is to heal others. I know this. I may resent the path that's led me to it, but that doesn't mean it's not what I'm good at, and what I'm destined to do. And dabbling with chaos, as much as it felt tempting to learn, to improve my abilities through that, I know in my heart that it would have only corrupted me and made me a force for evil. There's no point dwelling on it, is what I tell myself. That book needed to burn, and even though it wasn't us that saw it burned or placed it in that fire, ultimately, given that we are still going to be fighting against Tegan and his cult, I think the same conclusion has been met either way.
The wagon moves on. It then stops for a moment at one point. All of you have a tense moment as you hear the watchguard McGregor talking to some people. You remember, Siegfried, what you said. Shit, he's going to turn you in now. But then he doesn't, and some people you can feel pass by the wagon, but then keep going. Heinrich, you get a little peek at them. They're not the watch. If anything, you recognize one or two of them. You saw some of these men on that night when you almost were killed by that bounty hunter. These are just working men. You hear McGregor kind of poke his head into the wagon and say, "You see, that wasn't watch. They were Stevedore's guild. But they said they're trying to help out the watch find these criminals, but that doesn't make no sense. No. Someone's paid them to be looking for you. Oh, bless you, Siegfried, what you got yourself involved in."
I'm going to bite my tongue because I want to say to him, stop acting like you're my dad and responsible for me here, but instead I will just shut up and let him trail off.
Anyway, I got rid of him, but he angered some people, but don't worry, I fought them off.
Thank you for that.
No worries. We're almost up the river. Certainly suspicious, you think to yourself, Kruger. Why would they be looking for you as well, helping the watch? That makes no sense. No, someone's paid them again, you think, to be out after you three. But luckily, you've avoided them. And so, you change transportation. You are taken out of the wagon, and McGregor says, Right, we can't take the wagon over the river, but this is one of the watch boats. I'll take you over the river nice and quick, and then we're almost there at the Ostendam. He points to the part of town you saw as you came in by boat, the part apparently where most of the warehouses are. You also notice at this point the mist is extremely thick. You can barely see anything beyond vague outlines. This is actually, though, quite good, Kruger. This will make your approach even more stealthy.
Yes, this is perfect. This is perfect. Perhaps that moon is smiling upon us, really, and helping make things better. The Sigmar is with us. Yes, of course. Of course he is.
You will head out over the river. Not a long journey, 10 or 20 minutes. Although, once again, it's now late at night. You can't help be annoyed at how much time seems to be wasted, but again, maybe you're still going to get there in time. You emerge on the other side of the river and begin making your way through the warehouse districts of Bogenhafen. A lot of tall buildings here. McGregor stops. All right, I think warehouse 13, just across the road there. It won't take us too long to get there. Wait, what's that up ahead? Do you see that?
Look, what is he pointing to?
There's something glowing up ahead. Something on fire. There's a fire up ahead. And in the gloom, you think you can see several people milling about. You can hear shouts on the air of, "Fire! Fire!" And then you see something very, very unusual. Someone is walking towards your wagon. On the street you're on. You look at them, Kruger. And it's you. It's you. You're walking towards the wagon. And everyone else, if you poke out your heads, you'll see this as well. You see the person, who looks like Kruger, wave. And then loudly call out behind him, "Hey, and don't forget! Castor Lieberung will not be denied! All of you will burn! Remember the name Castor! Remember it well!" Well, what do you think, friends? You're playing awfully well, but I'm afraid I did need to make things a little more exciting for you. A fire's always fun, isn't it?
Yes. I've always found fires to be... things that make things escalate very quickly. Who in all the hells are you?
I'm Castor Lieberung.
Castor Lieberung is dead.
Oh. Is he really? I was wondering. I do, after all, know that you are not him. It doesn't really matter, though, does it? That mob over there are going to be looking for you. If I were you four, I'd head round those streets. I'm afraid it's going to take you a little longer to get where you're going, but you'll get there soon enough.
Why would you try to help us? You're trying to have us killed. Why should we trust anything that you have to say? What is in this for you?
If you want to meet the mob, they're just down there. I don't care which way you go. You can hear from behind him the shouts of a lot of people. It's things like, "Fire, fire," and "Stop, Lieberung, I saw him! After that man! Where did he go?"
You have to get going.
As you say this, McGregor draws his sword and begins advancing on this person. No, lads, it's all right. You go on ahead. You're under arrest in the name of the Watch. You try to hurt my Siegfrieda. I won't let you.
Oh, by the gods.
What do the three of you do? You see this individual, Kruger, look a little annoyed as this person starts walking towards him with their sword.
How far away is the fire from where we are?
A good way off. You have time, but yes, it does sound like there are a lot of angry people about. The fog's going to hide you for now, but not long.
And this person looks identical to Kruger.
Completely and utterly. They're wearing the same clothing he's wearing. They look exactly the same.
I want to see if I can medically, chemically remove any kind of illusion that may be afflicting me right now. Something that's going to give me a jolt of alertness, just in case this is someone who we're being made to think looks like Kruger, because I don't want us stabbing the wrong person, if you see what I mean.
Of course. They are still some distance away, though, so if you are going to attack them, you'll have to run past your father.
Well, I'm more concerned that my father's going to try and attack and get murdered. I'm going to look to my companions, to be honest, while I'm rifling through my small medicine cabinet that I keep portable with me. I look to them. I can't rush into a fight.
Heinrich, bit of assessment for you. It seems that Kruger's telling you to get out of here, bypass a few roads and get to where you're going. It will take a bit longer. But now McGregor has decided he's going to face this person on now. And again, it does look like Kruger. It's Kruger! Obviously, you can tell the difference because your Kruger's right next to you and this Kruger's very far away, but that's all you can tell.
I appreciate more than anything Kruger's desire to do this subtly, to advance towards the directive despite what else is going on. But look, there's only one book I know how to read, and it tells me to do something different. I don't know if I'm interpreting Sigfrida's look a certain way, if it's actually concern for her father, or I'm just reading too much into that. But no, these were the moments that I was made for. That's the story that I've told myself. That's the legend I've built up. That's what my family on the Birabel believe. So apologies to Kruger for not following his plan, and apologies to Sigfrida if that was not her intention. But I'm going to save a man who is braver than he is smart and take this fight.
What do? Do you run forwards, trying to basically run ahead of McGregor and try and get there first?
Oh, yeah. And I'm flashy as hell about it. Being a duelist is 80% sword fighting and 20% looking cool while you do it.
You begin charging forwards. Then please tell me what you do.
I have two priorities. One is to get McGregor out of the metaphorical line of fire, or the literal line of fire, if this is actually a sorcerer. Charging forward, leading with my left shoulder, the right hand on the sword. I will not shove past him, but moving by quickly, then putting my body in between this imposter and McGregor.
You do so. You move forward quickly and gently intersperse yourself between the two. Again, he's still some distance away. McGregor does stop, and he argues with you. No, lad, you've done enough. Look at him. He's just fuck. He looks. Why does he look exactly like him? What's going on here?
No offense, good sir, but you've only had a few days to reconcile with your family. Plenty of years left ahead of you to do that. Go back to the cart. Get them where they need to be. And I'll take care of myself, eh?
He nods, backing off just a little. The other Kruger yawns. Not really in the mood for this, but alright. I like you free. I would have killed that one. He bores me, but I like you free. Alright. I'll see you in a little bit. And he begins stepping away into the fog. What do you do?
How far away is he at this moment?
Still a good, 10 or 15 steps.
So I will break into a dead sprint, rapier drawn, ready to lunge.
And you break forward and lunge into the fog. And it's not like he's gone. But as you lunge into the fog, and again it's dark now. There were some torches on the wagon, and of course there is a big fire nearby. But it's still quite gloomy. Suddenly, something's no longer there. But there is still something. And you think you hear a flapping, and then something is flying away and gone. And then you start to hear the voices of that mob getting closer. It sounds like 20 or 30 people. Quick! 7 of you! Start going down that road! We'll fire that caster fucking Lieberung! What do you do, Heinrich? You haven't been seen yet by anyone. This person is gone, though, irritatingly.
Given the sound of leathery wings, person isn't the word that I'm going to use to describe this later. I don't look like Caster Lieberung, so I'm probably safe. Is the wagon still there?
Yes. Siegfried, at this point you found something, but you realise that the person's gone. McGregor, though, is returning and saying, we need to get you to that place right away.
You need to turn around now and go back to the main town. Tell as many trustworthy guards as you can about what's happening here. The three of us will make the rest of the way ourselves. It's too dangerous for you to be out on point, Father.
I've already abandoned you once. I can't do it again.
Please do as I ask.
He looks at you, a pleading old man. You think he is going to do as you say, though, but what do you say to send him off?
I've already told you I don't hold ill will over what happened to me as a child. And please, the best thing you can do for me right now as a father, the best responsibility you can show right now, is to respect the wishes of your adult daughter. Go back to town, round up the most trustworthy guards you can, and tell them that there is a ritual taking place on this side of the river. It won't take long, I'm sure, for evidence to be found that that is the case. Please just do that for me.
A tear forms in one of his eyes, and he nods, saying, Aye, Siegfried, I won't let you down. And he begins running off. Kruger. You see Heinrich making his way back to the wagon. Siegfried has sent off McGregor, and you can see torches being lit. There are definitely a lot of people heading in this direction. The being said that if you go right, you will avoid this, and you do notice there is a street to the right. The question, of course, is do you trust the being?
It seemed like they wanted to play a game. So yes, why not? I will of course try to use my own judgment here, trying to, see what I can see and what and trying to make the decision based on what I can hear also. I'll try to get us to where we need to go while avoiding this mob, because we definitely don't want to come face to face with them. Certainly I don't want to do that.
Luckily for you, the being was right. As soon as you head right, you see there are several side streets here, much easier to get the wagon through and away. It takes some time. The mob are out there, but they're very loud and very noisy, and there's an awful lot of mist and fog everywhere. And so, Kruger, you are able to avoid them. And finally, McGregor did tell you where the warehouse was. He said it was just straight down there, so it takes some time, but you are eventually able to circle back round to where you think this warehouse 13 is. But it takes you about another hour. You have definitely been delayed.
Yes, but hopefully we will still make it before the ritual begins. We have to. We've come this far.
Heinrich, any thoughts as you get back to the wagon and as things progress over the hour? Do you say anything to your friends? It's just you three now.
No, my position here, my skill set is clear. None of us could have missed the disappearing act that the other Kruger pulled. I just need to center myself and be ready. Talking will distract me from keeping an eye out, from trying to see the next thing that's going to come our way.
The three of you begin approaching what you think is Warehouse 13. You quickly pass Warehouse 12 and... Okay, there's a building up ahead. This must be it. There are torches lit inside. It's a big, large warehouse building. 2 main doors on the front. Several windows on the sides, although they're all barred. Although, maybe there's some latches you can pick open. There seems to be a large carriage nearby with horses. And you see Kruger very quickly. There are people patrolling this big warehouse. There are 2 people on the front door, and going around it, groups of 2. They do not look like they're of the watch. They do not like they are of any house guard. Once again, they just look like some men and some women in old levers carrying large wooden clubs One guy's carrying a mace. This is the situation you find yourselves in. What do the three of you do? The mob, for now, has left you behind, and it is a dark night. What do you do?
They are patrolling outside of the warehouse, yes?
Yes, 2 on the main big doors. The others are patrolling around the perimeter, but that does mean they're going through the fog. They've got torches, you can see them. They wouldn't actually be able to see you if you tried to get the jump on them. You also might be able to stealth around them, you think, Kruger? Maybe try and get through one of those windows?
Yes, that is exactly what I will do, and of course I still have the grappling hook with me. This is going to be the way that we make our way in. The less noise we make, the greater the chance that we will be able to surprise the ones who are doing the ritual. So I'll begin trying to lead the group through the fog past these guards and towards what I hope will be an open window that can take us inside the warehouse.
Heinrich, Siegfrieda, what do you think of this plan?
It's better than any plan I've got.
Agreed. Mine would be to start a fight with everybody here.
And admittedly, there's quite a few of them. You do not need to make a stealth roll, Kruger, because as you begin approaching, all 3 of you swear the mists get even thicker. And Siegfrieda, you look up, and again you see the sky filled with a green moon. 2 eyes and a mouth glaring at you from the Chaos Moon Morsleep. How do you feel about that?
I feel as if I'm being judged by some kind of astral body for having read that book or tried to read it, and I will not look up at it.
Kruger, you get to one of the windows. Luckily, there's some light coming from inside the building, because for a moment, you almost can't see anything now. Just your 2 companions right next to you, and the window right in front of you. The mist becomes super thick. You even hear some of these patrolling people talking to each other from afar, saying, try and stick to the main entrance. Oh, that's that fucking fog.
Yes, this is all going in our favor. This is good.
And so you reach the window. You can't see much beyond, it's barred, but you do see a latch mechanism. You're going to need to pick the lock.
I will do just that.
No modifiers, just a standard lockpick check.
That is 18 under 39, 2 degrees of success.
It's a bit difficult. It's not quite like you unlock the window, it's more that you kind of get your tools in such a position that you're able to jam a latch open, and then the door kind of creaks a little. But luckily, not too much. A narrow gap presents itself. What do the 3 of you do? It seems you could now crawl into this building through this window. You think you can see there's a bunch of crates right in front of you?
Perfect place to hide. I begin trying to make my way through then, taking the lead.
I think it's prudent that I maintain a rear guard. I'll be the last one in.
Yeah, I'm happy to occupy the middle.
Excellent. The 3 of you enter this warehouse. Again, there is light in here. The torches have been lit inside. For a few moments it's still rather gloomy, but you do seem to be in an area with a lot of crates. Empty crates, you quickly notice, but crates nonetheless, hiding you from view. You can see something is happening in the center of this warehouse building. There are several people here. If you poke your head out, Kruger, this is what you see. Once again on the ground, the ritual circle, the ram's head, the red circle with the 8-pointed star. You see the candlesticks, all lit. You see 8 figures. You're not entirely sure who is who. You think you can discern that some people seem to be men, some women. You think you can see a little bit of body shape underneath what everyone's wearing. They're wearing these blue robes with these strange white masks. No features on the masks, quite featureless, just with eye holes. They're all standing around this circle. One of the individuals is very, very large. Very large. But again, most people just seem to be standard figures in these robes. As you're watching, one of the figures steps forward into the circle. You can see there's a body nearby. It's been discarded to the side, but some poor soul has been opened up, and he is dead. The man in the center, in a voice you think you recognize, says, "And so, my dear brothers and sisters, the time is nearly upon us. I apologize for the sacrifice, as I said. It was sadly necessary due to our previous place being disrupted. But don't worry, all is well now. We will now begin the blessing of Renald, and very soon we will all be very wealthy indeed, and continue the good work of the Ordo Septenarius. All of you know the standard invocation. I am the only one needed to perform the rest of the ceremony. Are we all ready to begin?" A few people sort of murmur agreement. Some of them sound a bit nervous. The large man says, "Yes, just get on with it, get on with it. We're running out of time, you said. Isn't it important you said this happens soon? I personally think we could have delayed all the..." "Quiet, Franz. Please be quiet. We are nearly ready." What do the three of you do? You see this all occurring before you.
How about we interrupt these fine folks and let them know that armed men are on the way and that they will be found out and that they will lose all the riches and every piece of privilege that they have been able to gather so far. They will be found out. And perhaps that will start a panic and we'll at least be able to interrupt this.
I'm happy to give you that opportunity, I whisper. But the second someone starts chanting, I'm cutting them down.
Oh yeah, please. I look to Siegfrieda.
I nod. There's not much I can do in the way of causing harm, but I am prepared. I hope your plan works rather than us having to rely on bloodshed.
I do as well, I say. Well,
just on the off chance the stabbing the person chanting doesn't work, did you learn anything in the book on how to befoul the ritual? I'm stabbing someone chanting, totally in my wheelhouse. Fighting a demon, not so much.
Honestly, no. I learned nothing from it. I was more looking at pictures than reading words because the words were foreign to me.
I understand that feeling intimately. All right, stabbing it is.
And they're wearing ritual robes and fancy masks and stuff like that, right?
Correct.
Then I shall step out and make myself visible. Now. Look at all you fine folks in your fine robes and expensive masks. Doing some kind of chaos ritual, is it? Wow. It's gonna be so exciting when the rest of the city finds out about all of this. And they find out about how these fine folks who were supposed to be the best of them, how they are doing these completely forbidden things. Aren't you looking forward to letting everyone know about this exciting part of your life?
Everyone turns to face you, Kruger. The man in the center takes a few steps back. The bigger man steps forward. One of the people suddenly steps forward in a woman's voice. Yeah, Tegan, what on earth are you talking about? Yeah, who are you? How did you get a chaos ritual? What on earth are you talking about, you stupid man? This is a private event. What are you doing here?
Oh, and people are already on the way, actually. So in case you want to, I don't know, not be found out, perhaps you should try and flee now.
Would you like to roll an intimidation check? Give yourself a +10. Would anyone like to assist with this roll? Because you could.
Oh, enthusiastically. I am happy to stand at Kruger's side, drawing small patterns in the air with a blade.
Have another +10 to that roll.
That is very good. But I am fortunate enough to roll a 12, in that case underneath 47, so that is 3 degrees of success.
6 people begin looking very concerned. They begin looking back and forth. Again, that woman takes a few steps back. What do you mean people are... people are coming. What does that mean? What? And then he talked about who was. You said it's part of Renald. You said it was a ritual of Renald. What is he talking about? Chaos? Chaos? You would know, by the way, that Renald is the god of trickery. Kruger.
Indeed. Why don't you stay and find out who's coming? But yes, this is no ordinary ritual. This is all about chaos, and you know how that will be met by the people who will find out about all this. Why don't you stay and find out?
As they begin to panic, the man in the middle again just calls out, "Brothers and sisters, do not be dismayed by this man. This is Caster Lieberung. You've been hearing the rumors. He is a chaos cultist. He has come to disrupt this holy ritual of Ronald. And you are bluffing, sir. What guards do you have? Didn't you hear that they struck down Magirius this very day?" "Oh, they did say Magirius. Yes, he's not here. He was struck down."
"I am not Caster Lieberung. Caster Lieberung is dead. And Magirius will live. We made sure of that. We made sure to save him. Some assassin came after him. He will live. And you may yet as well. But you had better get out of here very, very quickly and not support this evil enterprise anymore."
3 people make a bolt to the doors. 2 others begin stepping back, looking confused. "Tegan, you need to start explaining yourself. This is becoming very unusual." The man, stepping behind the bigger man, just looks in your direction with that mask. "Lieberung, you meddling bastard. This is what you do, is it? You claim people are after you, and then you meddle in private affairs? You... Who do you really work for? Who paid you to do this?"
"I'm doing this for me. Caster Lieberung is dead. I am not him. I'm doing this for Bogenhafen. For the people, I say." And I immediately feel that's a very weird thing to say. But it's true.
Siegfrieda, what are you doing? You see 3 people are starting to run. Another 3 look like they're breaking. This man, Tegan, you think, he's standing firm behind this larger man who's beginning to draw... He's beginning to reach into his robe and draw something. What are you doing? Do you try and stay in the shadows for now?
I look to Heinrich. I think if you're going to act, Heinrich, now is the time.
You'll have to speak up, because at the moment that man starts reaching into his robe, I'm taking bold steps forward, saying something to the effect of, that would be very naughty.
Very naughty. No. No, you will not come between me and my money. I will have my money! And he looks behind him, and Johannes Tegan says, "Kill them. Kill them all now! We don't have time for this, you fools! Gideon, do something!" And the man steps forward, weapon ready. It is time for combat. Heinrich, you do notice something just as you're about to step forward. You hadn't seen him, but there is someone else here, just in the corner of the warehouse. The man from outside that town hall, the one who was eating an onion. He's here. He's watching this whole thing, and now he's eating a garlic clove. You kind of see him look up when the name Gideon is mentioned, and he just stares at what's happening and shrugs.
I'll whistle one of the signals that Kruger has no doubt taught me over our adventures, yell the word crossbow, and point in that direction. But I'm making that a Kruger problem because I need to be squared off with the large gentleman in front of me, I assume, lest he go do something horrible to Siegfrieda or club me in the back when I'm not looking.
And thus battle begins.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the legendary campaign The Enemy Within for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition, published by Cubicle 7. In this first part of the series, we are tackling Book 1, Enemy in Shadows. Joining us as players in this series are none other than Aaron Hammonds from Queen's Court Games and our dear friend Matthew Dawkins. The music was made by Flowers for Body Snatchers, Wordclock, Metatron Omega, Ager Sonus, Apocryphus, Halgrath, and Northumbria, featuring a number of collaborations with other artists, and was used with permission from their label, Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Nastasia Raulerson, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Julián, Cameron, Xabier, and Antxon for their generous support. And we would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember, Skaven are definitely not real.